Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another evening of Gut Over It. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Tonight's going to be a very calm, soothing, and relaxing evening as we're talking about stress and specifically talking about chronic stress and how it affects the GI tract. This is a very, very important topic as a gastroenterologist, and I'll dig into it a little bit more. But let me not forget to introduce myself. For those who don't already know me, my name is Dr. Vivian Asamoah. I am a gastroenterologist and functional medicine provider in Katy, Texas. I've been in practice for at least a decade, if not more. Went to medical school at the University of Geneva in Switzerland, and then did my fellowship training, uh, internship first at Johns Hopkins Bayview, and then fellowship at Johns Hopkins Hospital. And I've been in Texas for quite some time, at least 9 years now. And as a gastroenterologist, I'll share this with you guys. We don't learn much about stress during fellowship. And we don't learn, although we are very stressed, we don't learn much about the impact of stress on our patients. And we talk about it a little bit in our patients with irritable bowel syndrome, but we talk about it more as their stress rather than how much the stress is actually impacting the GI tract. And our mentors, our coaches, our professors did not really equip us with a lot of tools with how to help our patients deal with stress and even how to help ourselves deal with stress as providers. And over the last 2, 3 years, this is something that I have really had to work on personally and that I continue to work on every day because, as a frontline worker going through the pandemic, having the stress of possibly taking COVID home to my children and my family whenever I'm exposed in the hospital, the stress of my staff dealing with COVID related issues and family related issues under the pandemic, and then the heavy burden that it has put on patients, losing jobs, losing loved ones. And yeah, we go to work every day, but how do we cope? How do we deal with it? From a personal standpoint, it's one thing, but when you're in a profession like mine where that energy, that stress is shared with you as a provider, it comes from your patients very naturally, very organically, and it's really a part of why they're not feeling well and their symptoms. You got to find a way to help. You got to find a way to help them cope. You got to find resources that will help them, and eventually resources that may help you as a provider. So this is a topic that I think I think we're all struggling with stress. I think it's hard for anyone to say, well, I've got this under control, I'm managing it, but I feel like from multiple angles, I'm constantly hit with stress. And every day I have to stop to take a minute to think about, okay, how can we make this better? What is the next step? Breathe, 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 get through it, breathe. And I think if that becomes a habit every day where you stop to breathe through and think through, that energy also reflects on your patients, and hopefully you share with them some tools. But we don't have the know-how, we don't have that knowledge. We're physicians, we're providers, we have our weaknesses, we have our personalities, and we're not fully equipped to deal with stress, which is why I really believe that, when we deal with gut issues, especially from a functional medicine standpoint, it is a multidisciplinary approach. It is everyone's involvement. It is the support from family and friends. It is social media where there are support groups in person or on, social media groups. It is talking to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And right now in gastroenterology, we have gut hypnotherapy behavioral therapists, so cognitive behavioral therapists that are essentially just kind of gut related issues to help our patients. So if you guys find this stress is an extremely important topic to you, and as people logging on, I'm sure you guys have all battled with some kind of chronic gut issue or know friends and family who are battling with this, and you very well know that stress is a big component. So when we look at things from a GI standpoint, stress can affect almost every pathology in gastroenterology. It just makes it worse. And this is some of the foundations of functional medicine, that chronic stress does indeed make things worse. If this topic is important to you, near and dear to your heart as it is to mine, leave a comment, put some questions, share the tips and tools that you use to help deal with stress. Share this with someone who may need it. Leave a like, share some love. And let's make this as interactive as possible, because, you know, we all look at the comments, and I put a couple things in. We all look at the comments, and we want to share what helps and what works for everyone. So I'm going to talk about GI symptoms that are made worse with stress. And we've talked about some of this in our other gut over it topics. We talked about reflux can be made worse just with chronic stress. IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, made worse with stress. We talked about stress ulcers that can create problems, right? Stress ulcers that can, from burn victims, that can make things worse. Inflammatory bowel disease can get worse under stressful conditions, right? We talked about diarrhea, like IBS-related diarrhea or other related diarrhea issues can be made worse with stress as well. Constipation can be made worse with stress. Weight gain because you are stress eating and craving for foods also can be made worse with stress. So there are so many things. But if we really dig deep from a functional medicine standpoint, all autoimmune diseases can be triggered by stress. And we know that cancer is also triggered by stress, can be made worse, can be exacerbated by stressful conditions and stressful situations. So that's a big one. That's a huge one. And a lot of this is related to issues with leaky gut and intestinal permeability issues. And so it's a plethora of things. So, you know, going to your doctor and getting a prescription to reduce butterflies in your stomach, reduce diarrhea, reduce things like heartburn, the PPI, wonderful. But we're not fixing some of the root cause issue. And that's what I want to discuss today. It's just as important to discuss a PPI or how to treat H. pylori with your gastroenterologist as it is to discuss, well, how do I manage this stress, doc? Because all my symptoms are related to, a lot of them are made worse by stress. And we as physicians have to be able to, we can't just say, it's like saying, go lose weight. No. Or just don't be stressed. No. We've got to find ways to provide some tools and easy solutions, or even just open the mind to thinking about, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. So over the years, patients have shared a lot of things with me, which I'm going to share with you guys. There's a lot of information out there. There are a lot of great apps online. So as simple as just deep breathing techniques throughout the day, just taking a minute to do that count, deep breathing, inhaling and exhaling, relieves stress. Making sure you're sleeping enough. So getting those 8 hours of sleep every night uninterrupted. And if you're struggling with that, finding ways around sleep hygiene that will help. Exercise, believe it or not, exercise is one of the #1 ways to relieve stress. And it doesn't have to be high impact. It could be as simple as just going out for a walk, 20 minutes a day, but committing yourself to doing that a couple times a week, right? Okay. Eating healthy, big one, right? The more sugar you eat, the more coffee you drink, the more alcohol you intake, your stress, your neurotransmitters go up, your stress level increases. So making sure you're also eating a healthy diet, unprocessed food is part of it, okay? Take as simple as taking a soothing bath, right? With Epsom salts, get your essential oils out, eucalyptus, chamomile. I've got my chamomile tea here that I love to drink in the morning, chamomile, vanilla, and manuka honey. Simple ways, things you can do at home, right? Using a diffuser after you get out of the bath. And then pampering yourself with things like aromatherapy, right? Massage therapy to help. But there's some great apps out there that really, really help. And that, you know, we're on social media all the time. Yeah, there's some downsides to it, but there's some great sides to it, right? On social media, we've been so disconnected from the rest of the world that it's nice to get on support groups and be able to connect with people, find solutions, commiserate together, but then also, you know, congratulate yourselves together when things are going well. Be supportive, because sometimes you don't have family close by, they're distant, and being able to connect with people who have the same issues as you do. I'm a strong believer of groups as a form of healing. I'm a strong believer of support groups as a form of healing. There's some great apps that I discovered, like I use the Calm app I also use Headspace for meditation. Just 10 minutes every day makes a big difference at any point in the day. In the car before you go to work, once you get on the job, if someone is pissing you off, go into the bathroom and just do your little meditation. It works. I use Breathe, the app with a Breathe, and I'm going to put some of these apps in here so you guys can see what the Breathe app is like, but I love it. And I use my bedtime app, autoresponder, on my my iPhone, just so that I make sure I'm getting enough time in for sleep, because that's really, really important. So guided meditation apps are wonderful. They are out there. A lot of them are, to start off, they're free, but a lot of them are not expensive. So let's use the resources that we have and let's take advantage of it. There's a great app for patients with IBS that actually just came out. Well, I don't think it's that new. It's called Nerva. And I'm going to type it in so people with IBS can check it out. And it's a great app to kind of track your IBS symptoms and working on breathing techniques and seeing how this helps relieve some of your IBS symptoms. Please look at the Nerva app for IBS. It is a wonderful, wonderful app. So this was going to be a short one, guys. I really wanted to talk about things we could do personally to help reduce some of the stress. One big thing I think for us in our family is giving to others. Giving to others, supporting others, donations, reaching out to the community, to your church if they need help. That helps you put everything in perspective, guys, and helps you really focus on what's important. Giving is a great way to just be grateful, gratitude for self, gratitude for what you have. It's actually a really great way to relieve stress, giving and sharing with others, big way. And then, if you suffer from severe anxiety, you may need to talk to somebody. And there's absolutely no harm in shame. Mental issues need to be addressed because they can lead to bigger issues. And so there are great virtual online resources like Better Health, right, that do virtual counseling from psychotherapists, some from psychiatrists. Use these resources. They are out there. They are available. A lot of times they're not too expensive. There are free resources as well. So I think Better Health is a great one. Use these resources, get relief. We've shared many, many different ways. Take advantage, right? And make this a part of your everyday to-do life, right? Everyday life. So that's what I wanted to share. Chronic stress is an issue. I think it's one of the biggest epidemics of our modern day society. And we have to use the resources, the tools and apps that we have to help deal with this. So I wish you guys a stressful week, stress-free week, and love on each other, hug each other. Share this video with someone that you know. I'm going to try and post in a lot of what I've seen online. Oh, I have a little comment. Someone says, it says on her monitor, it says, no one is important enough to make you mad. And that helped me when my temper, keep my temper in check. Absolutely. Posting these kind of quotes on your screen, around your house, in your kitchen, on your fridge, they help. They really do help. All right, guys, have a wonderful stress-free week. Share this with someone. And if you've got some great apps that you'd like to share with us, put it on. You're right, Vanessa. There's no immediate fix. Consistency and just sticking with it. And again, giving to others, sharing with others, trust me, it brings a lot of joy into your heart. All right? Take care, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.